right here at the new year. Not drinking beer. This is Liquid Death for anybody wondering. It's actually really good. It's started off, I'm not sponsored by them, forgot to add. Mango Chainsaw. It's actually canned water, as weird as that may sound. But it's canned water, and it's really good. This was a sparkling water with kind of a mango flavor to it. Like I said, hence the name Mango Chainsaw. Anyways, it's good. But we're headed into the new year. I got something before we jump into this episode. I'm headed now. I got the pressure washer on the back of my service truck. I'm gonna go clean the combine. I've got it in the shed. It's been in the shed. I've just been putting off cleaning it. I'm gonna go finally get that taken care of. But we're headed into the new year, and that's always like, you know, very mixed emotions, or not emotions, but mixed feelings for different people. You know, some people think like that really inspires them. They're really fired up for moving into the new year because it's like, man, here we go. I'm going to make some resolutions. I'm going to do this and do that. Some people hate the New Year's resolution thing. They're like, hey, you know, it's stupid. Nobody ever sticks with them. 1% of the people hold their resolution. Yada, yada, yada. Look, and I get it. Like, back when I did not have a home gym and I was going to the gym, I used to hate right after the new year, because that's when the crowd came, and usually I knew if I just waited a couple of months, eventually they would go away. And typically by March, most of the New Year's resolutioners were gone. They didn't come back. And you know, I was always glad because then the gym was back to normal. But here's what I think. Going into the new year, I've got a different message than your Goggins or some of those guys. Those guys are like, you know, you got to be disciplined 100% of the time, stay hard, get after it all the time. And look, that's great. I mean, if that is your way of going about it, your way of living, man, more power to you. That's awesome. You'll crush it. Whatever you do, I'm confident you'll crush it. But I got to thinking about, why do I think New Year's resolutions fail so often? And I think it's partly because of that kind of mentality and that kind of attitude. Make sure that the pressure washer ain't falling off of there. But people think, I mean, we're notorious for it. And I say we're because I am as bad as anyone else. Coming into the new year, it's like, okay, we're coming up on a new year. We got to have a New Year's resolution. And I'm notorious for my grand ideas and grand goals. I never dream small. And I think that it's good to dream big. I think it's good to have these kind of things. But on the same hand, I think you need to have realistic goals. And I think that's what kills a lot of people's New Year's resolutions. I honestly believe most people, they go into the new year and they're like, okay, I want to start a business, and I want it to be the next Fortune 500, and I want to make $100 million in the year 2023. Or it's like, I'm going to start writing, and I want to write a book, and it's going to be the next New York Times bestseller. Or I'm going to buy a farm, and I'm going to go from farming nothing to 10,000 acres in 1 year. That's what people do. And again, I know that because I do that. I'm notorious for that. I always, you know, when I dream, we never dream long scale. We tend to dream short span. Like, how can I get this as soon as possible? And we're that way with everything. You know, fitness is a prime example. Like, people don't see results in 1 month and they think that this is pointless. They lose motivation, yada, yada, yada. So my encouragement to you guys and to myself going into 2023 is, let's cut our goals in half. If you're thinking about starting a business, start a business. But if you're thinking about starting a business and it becoming a Fortune 500 thing, and this is your hopes and dreams are riding on that happening, why don't we cut that in half? John Acuff wrote a book. I think it's called, he's got several I read. Quitter or Finish. I can't remember which one of those it was I read. But he kind of talked about that. You actually cut your goals in half, or maybe even a third. And again, it's counter to what a lot of these bad to the bone hard chargers are saying to us on social media. but it's realistic. And the thing about it, once you get these small scale things rolling, it's easier to then translate it into the next. So there's my non-ag related motivational chat for going into this coming year here. Let's not focus so much on the big huge bang as much as let's go for consistency, and let's do something that's attainable. Like if you were wanting to work out 7 days a week or 5 days a week, why don't you start with 3 days a week? If you're wanting to, you know, write a book. If you're like, I want to write for 2 hours every day, why don't you start off 30 minutes every day, or an hour every other day, or something. You know, make it where you're not gonna burn out. Like, burnout is what gets everybody. It happens in farming. You see, guys, we see the flash in the pan, is kind of what I call them. Guys will just come out of nowhere farming. They'll never have heard of them, and then suddenly they're working thousands of acres, and you're like, who is this guy? They're running big bad brand new equipment. They look awesome. Like, I mean, you look at them, you're like, yeah, look at what this guy's got. And then usually a couple years later, they're gone and they're bankrupt. So don't be that guy. Don't be the flash in the pan for 2023. Now, I am at the gate here. Let's get this unlocked. I'm gonna get the combine out. We're gonna get this joker cleaned up. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Please hit that like button, hit subscribe. Yeah, so I parked this thing. There she is in all her beauty. Parked it right when we finished up harvest. Drove it straight here. Kind of cleaned a little bit off, but got it put in the shed and was like, yeah, I'll get this at a later day. And I've almost messed around. I keep forgetting kind of to come clean it. And I mean, it was -1. Here, this is what's so crazy. It's 60 degrees right now here in West Tennessee. It was -1 here like 3 days ago. So I saw the weather coming up and I said, this is my window. I got to get this thing knocked out. So here I am. Let's see if old baby here will fire up. Oh, it ought to. I never had issues with it before. But that don't mean that today won't be that day. Okay. Tell you what, I love this combine. It is a bad mamma jamma. Hello. Ow. Well, I was talking nice about it and it's gonna cut my finger. All right, well, the radio's on, so there's at least one thing that's got some power. Let's see how she does with everything else. Turn this off, yeah. Oh yeah, I'd hate to think it wouldn't crank. We got her fired up, let her warm up a little bit, then back this thing out to the shed here. That dang, it's gonna bleed a little bit. I forget this thing has a CD player. It just said no playable disc. Let's see that. It's got a little CD player. I think it actually even just may have said the XM radio. Hey, they've got a little special going on right now. That's right, on a free trial. This thing's got XM radio. Wow. I never use it, but I'm a little fascinated by it. Okay, everything's still intact here. Still got my drink in here from when I finished harvest. Sweet tea. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to try that. That would be probably not a good idea. That would probably very rotten. Might have some hair or something growing in it right now. But yeah, guys. I love this combine. Gonna get it cleaned up. I think I might try to blow it off a little bit. Maybe. I'm gonna look at it. A lot of times it's easier to blow it off first and then come back and wash it. But some of this stuff had been rained on, and that makes it like stick on there really good. So I may not be able to blow anything off. So I may just have to go with it how it is. But pull it out of the shed and make her shine. Yep. pretty dirty right now. Opened up the extension so I can spray that off. Try to get her all cleaned up. I will say that thing that they put on there, that doesn't come from John Deere. Salem Machine and Tool, it says. It blows this off. I mean, I know there's stuff up there, but it does a pretty darn good job of keeping this stuff off of there. Because normally that whole back will pile up with stuff. But we'll get her sprayed off here, get it cleaned up. Gotta take the plates off. I don't think I've done that yet. But put the header or the feeder house all the way down so I can really get up inside there and blow all that off. And my header is sitting right there. Have a good mind to go ahead and do the same yet. So we might do that. There's the 8420, my tractor, but it doesn't look that bad. So main thing is this combine. The cleaner you get them, it helps with mice. Mice have an absolute heyday with combines. They will wear it out. That 9770 I had a tremendous amount of electrical problems because of mice. They had just, when you don't clean them real good, they get in there really bad. And they had been in there, when I bought that combine, the mice had absolutely obliterated it. When you'd crank it up, 4 alarms would go off all the time. Drove me nuts. Also, I did just notice this when I was leaving. Check it out. One of my lugs is gone, and these all hadn't put a wrench on them, but they're at least not finger loose. But definitely got a lug nut missing. So at least we got 7 others instead of, I would rather have 8, but hey, at least we got 7 on there. So gonna get this pressure washer off of here. This place has really good water pressure for some reason down here. But got the little pressure washer. Of course, it fell over. It's a pretty darn good little pressure washer. We've been using this thing for several years now. Gonna get it off of there, hook it up. I got it in a good spot because some of that stuff will stink once it gets wet. Kind of at least off of the gravel, so we won't be driving or walking through the stank of that. But let's get it going. You know, Mike Rowe has done some really dirty jobs in his life. Hence the name Dirty Jobs of the show. But I gotta admit, this is one dirty job, cleaning the combines. I put on my overalls here because you never finish this clean. Like, you might start clean, but this crap just, I've held the wand over, tried all kinds of things to try to keep myself from getting blasted by the dirty water that comes back. It never works. So I brought my overalls today. So, well, I'm gonna try to combat this a little bit. But got it hooked up, water's rolling to it. Water hose is perfect length. We should be able to get around this combine easily. See if this thing will crank. It can be a little ornery sometimes, but once it gets rolling, it does pretty good. Blow hard right now. It'll get going. Come on. There we go. Yeah, cut it out. All right. Come on, baby. Come on, Bertha. All right. Hope the wind keeps blowing. It'll blow all that stuff away from you. I'll end up eating some of that before this is over. Not by choice, but just because it's going to spray in my mouth at some point, most likely. Well, I grossly underestimated the amount of time and gasoline that this was going to take to pressure wash this combine. So I got the feeder house pretty well. I mean, look, you'll see some stuff. There's a chunk of some funky junk. There's a little bit of stuff, but that's pretty darn good. Got that, the top of the combine. It started over here on the side, got the front wheel, this part here, and was working on this up underneath here. Because I mean, you know, it might seem excessive. Like I know some people, they don't clean up inside here, but this combine does not have a lot of stuff built up in there. And that's definitely because it had been getting pressure washed and cleaned in there. So I just ran out of gas in the pressure washer. I mean, I've been pressure washing this thing for like 2 hours and have not gotten real far because we just got there. I still got to do this back part. Got to pop this open, do up under there. Obviously this back here, the back of it. The auger is always really the fun part because it's kind of hard to get to. And then I still got this whole side to do. So, and the back wheels, front wheels. I've still got a lot to do. Now the feeder house and all that, it always is probably the filthiest thing because stuff builds up in there. I've got the shields off and I mean, it really, like you can see all the junk on the ground. Most of that was piled up inside there. I mean, it's substantially better. Got the top of the cab and the hopper fold outs, but we still lack a bunch. And I had already been looking at the clock. It's 4:23. You can see the sun's kind of starting to set behind me there. I knew I was gonna run out of time, but I thought I'd run out of time. I checked the gas, to my credit. I did check the gas before, and I thought we would at least finish, or not finish, but reach a good stopping point. I didn't think I'd run out of gas, but that's the way it goes. So I am very filthy, as you can see. This is why I wore overalls. I don't usually wear them for this. I'm pretty glad I did. Sunglasses got some junk on them. I don't, like, I wear sunglasses majority of the time, especially, I mean, obviously outside. I was about to say, especially outside. I don't really wear sunglasses inside. My wife would think I was an idiot or crazy. Oh, maybe both. But I wear sunglasses like pretty much all the time because crap like this, I mean, it's steadily flying up in my eyes and you got to protect your eyes. So yeah, I guess that's a good stopping point. I got to check the weather. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, but I do love the look of a clean combine, especially up inside there. Like, it's pretty good. I need to actually wash it. Like, I'm pressure washing it off. I don't know that you'll be able to see it, but there's little specks of stuff up on there that they need to be washed. It actually needs to be washed with a, like, hand washed. And I'm gonna watch the weather. I'm kind of considering it. Kind of considering not the up underneath, but the body. I'm kind of thinking I might pressure wash it all off and then come back and hand wash it and then just rinse it off with the water hose. Sure does make it look better when you do that. But all right, well, that's pretty much it for today. That was the main agenda, was to get this washed. I got about a third of the way done. I don't know, as bad as the feeder house was, maybe I might be halfway done. But that's the majority of what I'm gonna do today, guys. I'm actually about to head back to the house, get kind of cleaned up. Well, first I'm gonna feed the cows, get cleaned up, and probably call it a day. They fixed me a nice glass of some bourbon. I think my wife's making some tacos tonight. It's Taco Wednesday on our front here. And You know, again, like I said at the beginning of the video, I've really been thinking about this New Year's resolution thing. I don't know. I'm always thinking of what comes next, what do we do, where are we going, what's the goals, and I want to see people do well. I mean, doing this YouTube channel, I do this for fun, but I also do it in hopes that maybe it'll inspire somebody that wants to farm, and they'll be like, man, that is the life that I want to live. It's hard to make happen because it's so, I mean, it's difficult to get into. We've talked about that a lot on the show. It's hard to get into, but man, what a rewarding life it is. I mean, look, I stress a lot. I mean, I stress significantly more now than I ever did when I was a machinist, and but I'm also happier than I've ever been with my career, which is odd. As stressed as I am, I'm happier. But I love what I do, and I want people to be able to do it. That's why it's a passion of mine. I want to see more people get into farming. Also, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you thought of the video. Let me know if you got some tips maybe for cleaning these machines up. Something that really just gets the stuff off of there. Or maybe if you got some stuff I can spray on there, you know, some stuff that you can spray on that won't make the dust stick quite so bad. I don't know. I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts below. And as always, I please ask that you let me know what you want to see. I keep thinking that I'm ending this video, and then I keep jumping back on here. But I had to just point out, here is the importance of wearing overalls. So y'all saw how filthy I was. Look at that. These pants, shoot. If my wife called right now and said, meet me at the Mexican joint, I could go right now. My shirt's got a little dirty in spots, but wash my hands and I'd be ready to go. That's why you wear overalls. You can take them off and you ain't even look like you've been working. Farmer tip.